If I understand correctly, this was the last time that you spoke to us. You were all living in different parts of Europe. Is that still the case?
John, well, half the band are in the UK. You've got John and Lee up in Liverpool, Danny's in London. I'm still in Paris, Jamie's still in Holland, and Daniel Cardoso's in Portugal. So we are dotted around a bit, but we make it work somehow, you know.
Because that's what I was getting at. Is it difficult then to find a time?
It's not so much difficult, it's expensive.
The flight tickets?
Yeah. Just that's all, you know. Because if we need to do something, we can get together 2 weeks beforehand and make sure we do it properly, you know. If we need to, like a big major tour. Like Universal, the DVD, you know, that was the first gig of the tour, so obviously we need to be prepared for the first gig. It's a major concert, so we made sure we were well prepared and ready to go from the first note, you know. That's really, really important to us, the preparation and the attention to detail with everything that we do.
And when it comes to the songwriting then, do you also find a space of, say, a couple of weeks and all get together to write? Or
so what happened was, with this record is, everybody writes all the time anyway, right? So when the time came to say, okay, well, do you want to get together and see what we've got? We went to Portugal, and this was like February 2013. And we spent about a week of serious work, let's say, with Christer. Okay. That's when the Lost Songs Part 1, 2 and 3 came out. They were written there and then. And we had a look at all the rest of the material and chose, let's say, 15 or 17 tracks that we wanted to look at closely for the record. Then we did some more touring and let some time pass and sat on it for a while. Ariel came about, that went, you know. And then about a month before we went into the studio, we got together again, this time in Christer's studio. And we just chose the record and made sure we had it all arranged musically and made sure that it was ready to go, at least musically. We didn't have the lyrics, but at least musically we were ready to start. And that was about a month before. So in all, there wasn't that much pre-production. It was about 2 weeks.
Well, what do you base the selection on then? Are these the 10 best tracks? Or
it's a natural flow. Yeah, of course they are the best tracks, but not necessarily, because you've just got to get the right flow. There's so many different variables, like there's the tempos, the song keys, the themes of the songs, even the intros and outros, you know, I mean, we do our best to construct something that you want to listen to from start to finish, and we don't want to overdo it and we don't want to underdo it. It's got to be just right, and the balance of songs is super important for that, you know. So there may be a couple of songs that will have to go on the next record because they're just as good, but they just don't fit in this record. That's the way it goes sometimes.
And there's no preconceived idea about how it's going to fit, but that just flows.
We let it happen naturally. The same way we let the songs happen naturally sometimes, you know, it's better not to set out with too much of a contrived idea. It's better to just let it happen, and especially when you're coming up with the first idea, the first little buds of the composition, you've got to be in the moment, and you've just got to make sure the record is pressed. That's all, because that's what it's about. That's what the moment's about. You know, there's a lot of the songs on this record came directly out of that kind of writing. You know, just being there. Okay, record away. You know, so we don't write by hand. It's by feel.
And then. When does the song develop? Do you continue to revisit the song?
Some of them are more developed than others to begin with. Some of them are just more obvious. With some, we'll try a couple of things and we might go back to the original idea, but we'll always find the way that it needs to go. And it's always a case of sometimes that you have to get out the way yourself and let the song be what it wants to be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to remove your own preconceptions and any of the obstacles that you might place in the way of the song's destination.
Is it then difficult to pinpoint when to do this and when to go?
Not really, no. Especially not musically.
Okay.
No, you've just got to let it flow naturally, and it'll be all right. They tend to sort themselves out quite quickly.
And then I assume you mentioned the way Ariel came about. For lyrics, it kind of works the same.
Well, that was just done there and then. It was like music and lyrics in a moment. And it was good that I had the recorder, because had Danny been on his own, and who knows, if he'd have been somewhere else without the band, he might not have remembered that riff. But we were there, so.
But in terms of the lyrics then, well, you said Danny did most of the writing for this record. Do you discuss overall then what the kind of mood of the album is going to be, or what it is eventually?
Yeah, well, it becomes apparent to us, you know. So that's it, all in the song choices, you know, and there's lots of different criteria that go into which songs are chosen for the album and their position on the album.
Right.
And all the lengths of the songs, the intros, the outros, the vocal hooks, the instrumental sections, all of those things are planned as a whole like record, you know. So for example, in the song Ariel, we had a whole middle section that was about 4 or 5 minutes long on its own, stuck in the middle of that song. We eventually removed it because it may have worked for that song as an experimental piece, but ultimately just getting right to the bones of what the song was about was better, and was better for the album as well, because it would have made the album wander off at that point, and you wonder, well, where are we going here, you know?
And what role does Christer play in this finding the right balance?
The balance is kind of done by us, but he might suggest something that he might suggest something within a song, you know, like he might suggest that Lee tries this certain vocal, or that Danny tries this certain vocal, as opposed to me doing them all, you know, and he gets the best out of the performances and out of the general production, and he's the best person I've ever worked with on vocals, hands down, you know, and I know why Peter Carlson likes to work with him so much, you know, and he's so good with vocals, but he's like a safety net, you know. He's like having a parachute, you know, a safe landing. You just know you're in safe hands with him. He's great. He's got a calm temperament, and he's really easygoing, and he's such a lovely person. He's 100% dedicated and focused. And I guess that's what he brings the focus together from the group, you know.
Is that something you need as a group, because you are family?
Well,
mostly?
yes, and you know, yes and no, depending on the song, you know, depending. But sometimes we can all go round and round in circles with a song until we get it right, you know. Right. But it's usually, you know, it's usually the band who kind of figure that out, you know. Christer will always offer an opinion, and we always listen. And he's kind of like, when we're in the studio itself, it feels like he's almost in the band, you know. Do you know what I mean? He's that close to us, so it's just like having another member there.